Hi guys, my name is Priyanshu and today's screencast is regarding to the Angular tutorial is regarding to the how what is Angular, where to use Angular, and what is the architecture of Angular. Whenever we learn any new technology, so we got some question in our mind, that is what why should we use that thing and where to use that thing. So first there are the three basic questions in our mind, that is the what is the Angular, what is Angular means in our case, what is Angular, why Angular, and where to use the Angular. Let's move to the first question. So Angular is a JavaScript framework which is used to build a single page application. Guys, what is mean by the single page application? Whenever we load the page or we click any button on the just take an example of ASP.NET or servlet. So whenever we click or interact with the application, it sends the request to the server, or it reload the application in this case. But in the single page application, the whole application inside in the single page, so it's load everything inside the page and it interact using the script or JavaScript or internally. So that's the single page application. Angular 2 is a JavaScript framework to create or to build the single page application. So why Angular 2? In market there are lots of framework, SPA frameworks are available like React and Reactive. So why only Angular? So guys, Angular is developed by the Google. Angular is developed by Google. It's 5 times faster than the Angular JS. So it is super fast. And it's extremely simple to learn. That's the features of Angular. Where to use it. Take the example of Gmail. So there is a heavy manipulation of JavaScript, using tons of JavaScript is written for manipulating the UI. So it's a good example to implement the single page application. So whenever we find the tons of JavaScript tons of JavaScript manipulation and JavaScript code and manipulation of DOM, so in that case we can use that single page application, single page application framework, that is our Angular. So next is, what is our Angular building blocks of our Angular 2. First is component. So there are 5 building blocks of Angular 2. First is component. The component is a combination of the data template with the behavior of that component. Means it's a functionality with the template. Means the combination of template plus functionality. That's a component. Next is our directive. Directive tells or instruct the DOM, that is the document model object. So it instructs the DOM how to or where to render that component or the template inside the DOM. So that's the directive. That is the directive. Next is service. So what is service? So anywhere in the generalized concept, service, which means provide something to the user or something to the consumer. So in that case we have the services which is totally independent of the DOM element or the UI element. So it provide the service, it provide the resources to the component or the or directive or anywhere or to any consumer, that just like services like sending the request to the client, sending request for getting the data from the third party or the external API. So making the HTTP calls. So it's a logical entity which is consumed by the other component, that's the services. Next is router. Router is, it's a concept of navigation part. It's a totally related with the navigation inside the application. So that's a router. Next is modules. So modules is a combination of the collection of components or directives or services or router, or it's a combination of all that. Module means is the collection of entities inside. So every Angular application is a at least contain one module. Means at the root of application it's having a one module at least. Let's talk about the component in deep. As we discussed, the component is an encapsulation of data template as well as a behavior of view or the functioning which provide in the view. So it's generally called as a view component. Means view, we can put that component inside and take and collaborate with the other input or the other component. So components are the collection of other components also, and that components also can be a collection of other components also. So components are in Angular. We define the component like this. That is the template component is a class. So one thing we have to discuss about the in what technology or in what language we are going to code. So in Angular provides multiple language to code into it. Okay, so there are Dart. The first is JavaScript. We can directly code in the JavaScript. Second is TypeScript, and third is the Dart language. Okay, so we are continuing our tutorial with the TypeScript. So again the question is arise, why TypeScript? So TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. So it's a abstract version, or we can say it's a object oriented type of JavaScript. So it's a totally open source language, and it's developed by Microsoft. After compilation of TypeScript, it compiles into the JavaScript itself. Okay. So the TypeScript incorporated the object-oriented features like classes, constructor, interfaces, like or function overloading. So or overloading. That type of all means object-oriented concept inside the JavaScript. So let's talk about the component. Okay. So component is a inbuilt functionality with the template, and it's in Angular everything is a class, as just like a object-oriented programming. So how that class identify means it's a component or it's a directive or it's a router. So in component it's means template and component are attaching, or it's a glue. That's a metadata. So metadata tells that whether it's a component or it's a directive or it's something else. Okay, so that's our let's take an example that having a header application, having the header, body and footer section. So header is a one component, footer is another component, and body is a one component. So body contain the number of child components. Let's as we discussed that component can be a collection of another component itself. So here the root component tree. So every application having a root component. So that's a root component. Here is defined that root template again contain the child component. That is a component class and the template, and here also component B which is the class and it's a template. So again component A also a collection of or the contain the grandchild component. So that is the component tree structure. So you got a question that how we implement the component or any in the Angular 2. So that's the answer of our question, how to create the component. So in TypeScript we have a class, we have a component, that is a app component for example, and it's attached to the metadata. Means metadata says that this is the component by using the decorator component. So decorator component to that class defines or tells that's the component. Okay, so we will discuss in the next tutorial how to create the component inside the application. And as you see my video, my previous video, that is the how to set up the Angular 2 environment. If you're not, so please watch that video guys. So it's a lot help to maintain the environment or create the establish the environment for the Angular 2. Okay, that's the how, and that's how we can create the component in the Angular 2. So next thing is directive. As we discussed, the directive is also a class having the metadata of directive metadata or in the TypeScript. Directive tells or instruct the DOM to how to or where to render the template as or the component. So there are few inbuilt directive in the Angular, that is the ng4, which repeat it or which iterate that li list of that heroes. So we will discuss or we will implement these things in the next tutorial. There are a few directives. So this is the main part of our tutorial, which is structure of or the architecture of Angular 2. Means how its component or components or the building blocks are interacting with each other. So our component having the template metadata as the component class. So metadata tells that this is a template for that class, and whatever the classes or the functions we are written, that is the behavior of that template. So if you want to set the template, send the means template and component are communicate by using the properties and event binding. So whenever the component want to send the data to the template, so Angular we use the property binding, and when the template sends the data to the component, we use the event binding. Here are the services. So services, as we say, the services are the individual component which provide the service or the provide the data to the component, or even we can even it provide the data to the directive itself if you want. So we have a concept of an injector. The services concept of dependency injection. So that in the dependency injection, the services are injected in the component to provide the data. That's the services. So next is our directive. So directive tells that template in Angular every templates are the dynamically generated. So this dynamically generated template need that directive tells that where to render or to instruct where to render that template inside the DOM. So that's our architecture. And the services, that is a module. Last section is a module. Module is a collection of services or collection of functions or collection of values or collection of components. So that's a module. So this is our Angular 2 architecture. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you like to if you really like this video, so please like, share and subscribe, so I will get motivated from this. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.